What is up, YouTube? I am Ollie from Channel 40k Jersey, and this afternoon I'm going to be running through how to create a basic magic deck. First of all, what you need to do is choose what guild or kind of what elements you are really based around. So if you're into kind of fiery dragons, kind of stuff like that, then you want to go for kind of Izzet or sometimes Boros and stuff like that. But if you're into fire or water, normally the guilds that you choose, basically the cards that you choose, normally belong to a guild. So what I'm going to be showing you today is a Simic deck, which I just made a couple of hours ago, which is primarily based around islands and forests, which is water and land. So water and nature, sorry. You can find all of the information about guilds and what they consist of on the Wizards website, the Wizards of the Coast website. Normally you just have to type into Google Magic the Gathering and it comes up anyway. So I'm just going to tilt my screen down here and basically show you what should consist in a normal deck. So we're going to start with lands, which I'm using Simic. So we've got forests, and we have islands. So that's basically it. For the mana, the land, you're going to want to have about 10 of each land. So I have 10 islands here. I have 10 islands there, and I have 10 forests. Which equates to 20 mana, which is a good solid mana kind of mana pool there. And then also with mana, you really want some guild gates, and Simic have guild gates, and you can also have clue stones. So that's a Simic clue stone there, and I'll show you one of the newer Simic guild gates. There we go. And that's another Simic guild gate there as well. You can also get key runes and stuff like that for Simic, but this is the Dragon's Maze series, so you have clue stones. So you've now got a solid mana base there. You've got 20 mana plus guild gates. So you want a solid deck, kind of, want a solid force of monsters, creatures, spirits, anything like that. You're using Simic, so you want blue and green creatures there, and then you'll also get creatures which have the Simic rune on them. So I'll just show you there. It's called a frilled oculus, and if you can look really closely, it has the Simic rune right there. There's a little distinction rune right there. But with these creatures, you really want low mana costing creatures, and you also want high mana costing creatures. The low mana costing creatures makes you have a good chance at the start of the game when you have low mana. So for instance, if I had my hand, I'll just take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. I'll just call it 5. So I have 5 cards here, and say I have 2 basic lands here, 2 islands, or an island and a forest, let's say, and I look through my hand, and one of the cards that pops up to me is the frilled oculus there. So what I would do was tap these 2 lands there, which means I'm using them, I'm utilizing their cost, and then I can play the frilled oculus, which is 1 island and another mana cost. So that is a basic 1/3 monster. A homunculus, and then it has its ability. You want some really good ability cards to play with. So if it's got a low attack or high defense and stuff like that, it's going to have a pretty decent effect, or whatever you want to call it, just an effect. Like I can go to card in here. You've got Primordial Hydra, which is a 2 forest cost, and then it's got an X there. Now the X symbols mean because this Hydra, sorry, when it enters the battlefield, it enters with X 1+1 counters, and the X stands for the mana cost. So if you had, let's say 1, 2, 3, if you had 3 extra lands, and you tap the first 2, you're utilising them so he can come on. And so he's got 0/0, which is pretty weak there. 0/0, no attack, no defense. So when he comes on, those other 3 lands get utilised. You can utilise them, so that means he has a 3/3 bonus, because he gets 1+1, so 1 plus attack and 1 plus defense per X, and let's call these 3 X here. So as soon as I play him, he's now got 3+3, because there are 3 extra lands that you've utilised. And that's some of the more complicated effects that you use, whereas I can go to another card in here. I can go to, I'm just trying to find Progenitor Mimic, which is this card here. I need 1 forest, 1 island, and 4 other mana to actually play him, so I'll play these 4 mana here. There we go. And so I play him, and let's say that I get a the other person has a really high attack and defense monster. So I'll play. Imagine the other side has a Species Gorger there, which is a big toad-looking thing, and it has 6 attack and 6 defense. So I'm putting that there and saying that my opponent has that card right there. So as soon as Progenitor Mimic comes onto the field, I'll just show you, he's a mythic rare there, a shapeshifter. So as soon as he comes on, he can take the form and attack stats of any monster that you want, either on your side or the other person's side. So I'm going to take the 6/6, and that now means he has the permanent effect, and he has 6/6 now, which is really good, because he has a reasonable mana cost, and it's not, he gets a really good high attack and defense. So that's one of those are upsides of effects. So now we've got a good strong mana base, and we have guild gates, and then we also have a strong kind of infantry of creatures. So now we're going to move on to spells like sorceries, instants, and artifacts. So I'm going to lay out an instant there, and I'll find a enchantment, which is an enchantment is also called an aura. So I have a double card here, a double-sided card. You can either decide with the mana cost, so the mana cost of take, this is called give and take. The mana cost of give is 1 forest and 2 other mana, and the mana cost of take is 1 island and 2 other mana. So basically, you can either choose to take one of them or take both of those effects. So what this says is, give, if you pay for give with the mana cost, you put 3 1/1 counters on a target creature. So if I have an Elvish Visionary here, and I used the give effect onto her, she would have 4/4, because she already has a 1/1. 1/1 already attack and defense. So she would become a 4/4 with give and take. So as soon as you if you wanted to use take as well as give, you remove all of the 1/1 counters that you gave to the creature, and you draw that many cards. So I put 3 1/1 counters on her, so then take lets me take those 3 away and draw 3 other cards, which is really good. So then we're going to move on to Plasm Capture, which is really good card. It's a rare. It's not mythic, but it's a rare. And this card depicts a dragon and a man holding up jelly, which is then blocking that kind of attack. So we'll read what this says. Counter target spell. At the beginning of your next pre-combat phase, which is before you attack, you add X mana in any combination of colours into your mana pool, where X is the spells converted mana cost. So this costs 2 forest and 2 islands. So that means you get to add 4 mana, but of anything. So you could add plains, you could add mountain, you could add swamps, and you could add, of course, the forest and the island. Which is really, really good, and you also get to counter a target spell. So that basically soaks up the attack and gives you more ammunition. Then we have an enchant. So that was an instant, and the one before was an instant. So we have an enchantment here, and this is an aura, and it's called Abundant Growth, which depicts almost like a climbing ivy up a building, it's abundant growth. So it says enchant a land. So that means if I had a forest, I can enchant that forest. When Abundant Growth enters the battlefield, I get to draw a card. So say I draw another card due to it coming onto the battlefield. So when this stays on for the whole game, unless it gets destroyed or exiled, basically exiled. Enchanted Land has add 1 of any colour to your mana pool. So when I tap it once per turn, I get 1 to my mana cost. So I get if I tap that, I would get another forest or get another island or get whatever you want. And so those are basic enchantments, basic instants, and basic sorceries. So we have a pretty solid deck here. We have our ammunition, we have our kind of weapons, we have guild gates, which adds your ammunition, and then you also have kind of counter spells, and it all just brings a good deck together. So when you are creating a deck, whichever guild or whichever thing, whichever guild or whichever element, you always have to remember to have a strong mana base. So I have 20 mana. That is a lot of mana, to be honest. Some people would go with 18 mana, which is 9 of forest and 9 of island. And then you have to have a solid creature base, high mana cost and low mana cost. So you have basic monsters and advanced monsters. So that's maybe 40 cards there. And then with your guild gates and your instants, which basically deflect and have little add tokens or add this or add that, and then that would basically make up your other 20 cards. So you basically have a 60 card limit, but that makes up your deck. So always remember to have a strong mana base. Always remember to have high mana cost monsters and low mana cost monsters, and then always have sorceries, instants, enchantments, artifacts, whatever you really want, because it's your choice at that moment. After you've got a strong mana base and after you've got a strong creature base, you can experiment a little bit with spells and all of this stuff. So that's basically the video. Hopefully I'll be doing a pack opening soon. I'll basically get 10, maybe 9, 10 packs of the Dragon's Maze or Avacyn Restored or Innistrad or whatever packets. If you guys have any suggestions, I'll definitely take those into account. I'll be buying more kind of stuff, like buying more deck boxes, maybe buy another fat pack, see what we get in there, test our luck a little bit more. So please like, comment and subscribe, and thanks for watching.